The boots strike marble in the corridor outside. Hobnailed, iron-studded, Roman. They are not running yet. Inside the sealed room, a woman's hand rests on a gold armrest and does not move. The marble is cool under her bare feet on a morning already turning to heat. She listens to the boots. She does not rise faster. She has perhaps an hour. She intends to use all of it. This is Cleopatra, on the last morning of her life. By the time those boots reach her door, she will be dead on a golden couch, by her own design, on her own clock, robbing the most powerful man in the world of the one thing he came for. Almost everything you have been told about how and about who is wrong. Today, we decode the real one. The date is the 12th of August, 30 BC. 11 days have passed since Mark Antony fell on his own sword in a tent across the bay. Plutarch records this morning, and the chronology has held for 2,000 years. The room she wakes in is a tomb. She built it for herself, a mausoleum of marble and granite set slightly apart from the royal palace at Cape Lochias. For 11 days, it has been her prison, though no Roman would use that word to her face. The guards outside are courteous. The door is still sealed. Outside that door lies Alexandria, the greatest city of the ancient world. Its harbor holds Roman ships now. Its lighthouse, the Pharos, still throws its signal across the water as it has for 250 years. And for nearly 3 centuries, this city has been ruled by one family, the Ptolemies, a line of Macedonian Greek kings and queens founded by a general of Alexander the Great. That line ends in this room. The woman getting dressed inside it is the last of them. She is 39 years old. She is the mother of 4 children, and the survival of her bloodline is now measured in weeks. Inside that building, with the harbor wind coming through a single window slit, a queen who has run out of moves is getting dressed for the last time with great care. She wakes before the heat does. In a sealed tomb, the night holds longer, and the marble under her feet is still cool when she rises from the couch. It will not stay that way. By the 3rd hour, the stone will warm, and the room will hold the heat like a kiln until dark. Through the single high slit in the wall comes the smell of the harbor, salt, and under it the tar they use to seal the hulls of ships. It is the smell of Alexandria, the smell of every morning of her life. The Roman ships in the water below carry the same tar as her own. 2 women are already awake with her, Iris and Charmian. They have served her for years, and they are not weeping. There is no use for weeping in what comes next, and all 3 women know it. Iris moves to prepare water and a small meal. Charmian waits near the couch, her hands loose at her sides. Steady. These are not grieving servants. They are something the Romans outside do not yet have a word for. She drinks first, water, then wine, cut thin with more water, the way it is taken in a Greek house, not an Egyptian one. She eats without hurry. Every gesture this morning is slow on purpose. Speed would mean fear, and fear is a thing she has decided not to give to the men in the corridor. When the meal is cleared, she does not call for mourning clothes. She does not call for the plain robes of a widow 11 days bereaved. She calls for the regalia, the robes, the scepter, and the diadem. If Octavian wants to see Cleopatra, he will see a queen, not a widow. The dressing is a ritual, and she performs it as one. The robes first, the deep colors of Ptolemaic royalty, layered against the gathering heat. Iris works the folds. Charmian takes the hair. Charmian has braided this hair for years. Her hands are steady this morning, steadier than they have any right to be, and she works slowly, plaiting and pinning as if there were a banquet to attend and not a death to keep an appointment with. Neither woman speaks. The braiding takes the time it takes. Then the diadem. Charmian lifts it and sets it on the queen's brow, and Cleopatra feels its weight settle. Gold, and heavier than she remembers from her coronations, though the diadem has not changed. She has. The weight is the same. The woman carrying it has less left to carry it with. She does not dress as a queen for vanity. She dresses as a queen because a queen is the one thing Octavian cannot be allowed to capture. A widow in plain cloth can be led through Rome behind his chariot. A reigning pharaoh in full regalia, dead on her own couch, cannot. When the regalia is complete, she calls for a writing tablet. The letter is short. She asks Octavian for one thing only, that she be buried beside Antony. Every word is chosen. She is not pleading. She is composing a move because she knows what this letter will do to the man who reads it. She knows he will understand at once what it means and what she means to do, and she is counting on his understanding. She seals it and hands it to a messenger. The moment Octavian reads it, he will send men running. She is counting on that too. Quick thing before the door comes down. The most famous Egyptian queen in history was not in the way you are picturing her right now, Egyptian at all, and the coins she minted show a face nothing like the one you have seen on screen. If you want to see what she really was, subscribe and stay with me. Across the palace grounds, the letter reaches Octavian. He breaks the seal. He reads the one request, to be buried beside Antony, and he understands it in a single breath. This is not a woman asking a favor. This is a woman telling him what she is about to do in the only language that will not be stopped in time. He gives the order. His guards run. The corridors of the palace quarter are long, and the august stone throws the sound of hobnailed sandals back off every wall. The boots that have waited outside her door for 11 days are finally moving fast. They are too late, and somewhere behind the sealed marble, she knows they are too late, because she built the minutes into the letter. Inside the room, the air is thick now. The heat has filled it. A basket of figs sits near the couch, the fruit overripe in the warmth, sweet and turning, the smell of it heavy in the closed space. The women do not hurry. They have time enough, and not a moment more than they need. What passes between the three of them in those minutes is done with care, the same care as the braiding and the diadem. It is quiet. It is quick. It is theirs. By the time the centurion throws his weight against the door and the marble gives, the work is finished. Cleopatra lies on the golden couch, the diadem on her brow. Iris is dead at her feet. Charmian is still on her feet, swaying, her hands lifted to the queen's head. The door gives way. A centurion is the first man inside. What he says and what Charmian says back is one of the last things ever recorded of the Ptolemaic dynasty. The centurion stops. He has come running through half the palace to prevent exactly this, and he has arrived to a room where it is already done. On the couch, the queen. At her feet, one handmaid dead. And by the couch, the second, still standing, still moving, her hands at the diadem on the dead woman's brow. Charmian is dying as she works. Whatever the three of them took has reached her too, and her body knows it, and still her hands keep their task. The diadem has slipped, a finger's width, and she will not leave it crooked. She straightens it. She squares it on the queen's head the way she has squared it 100 times before 100 audiences, so that Cleopatra meets the Romans the way she met every other moment of her reign, as a queen, correctly crowned. The centurion finds his voice. He is angry and afraid, and he speaks before he thinks. "Is this well done, Charmian?" And Charmian, with the last of what is in her, answers him. "Extremely well, as befits a queen descended from so many kings. Then she falls. The room is quiet after that. The harbor wind still moves through the high slit in the wall. The boots are still now. 3 women and a dynasty of 300 years ended in a sealed marble room on a high summer morning, while the most powerful man in the world was still reading a letter. That is the morning as the Romans found it. Now let me tell you what the Romans and almost everyone since got wrong about the woman on that couch. Decoded 1, she was Greek, not Egyptian. Picture Cleopatra, and you probably picture a daughter of the Nile. A native Egyptian queen, dark-eyed, born of the same land as the pyramids. That picture has a problem. It is wrong at the root. Cleopatra was Macedonian Greek. She was a direct descendant of Ptolemy I, one of Alexander the Great's generals, who seized Egypt when Alexander died and crowned himself its king. For nearly 300 years, her family ruled Egypt while speaking Greek at court and refusing, generation after generation, to learn the Egyptian language at all. Cleopatra was the first of her line in 9 generations to bother learning it, and Plutarch lists Egyptian as merely one of 9 languages she spoke, alongside Ethiopian, Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, and others. The strongest evidence is the one she made herself. The coins minted under her own authority carry her chosen self-portrait. A strong hooked nose, a sharp jaw, a prominent chin, struck in the Hellenistic royal style of her Greek ancestors. That is the face she wanted history to keep, not the one history gave her. Decoded 2, the beauty was built by Rome. Here is the next one. Cleopatra was not famous in her own time for being beautiful. The idea that she was the most beautiful woman in the ancient world is largely a thing Rome built, and the painters of the Renaissance and the films of the last century finished. Look at what the people closest to the record actually wrote. Plutarch states plainly that her beauty was not, in itself, incomparable. What he emphasizes instead is her voice, her intelligence, and the persuasion in how she spoke. She was a polymath, fluent in those 9 languages, credited with treatises on medicine, on weights and measures, on cosmetics. What she leveraged with Julius Caesar and later with Mark Antony was not of face. It was political intelligence and the wealth of Egypt behind it. The seductress is a costume Rome dressed her in afterward. Decoded 3. The snake is a story Rome told. And now, the one image every single person carries into this story. The asp, the cobra hidden in a basket of figs, the bite, the slow, tragic death of the Queen of the Nile. There is a problem with it. No snake was ever found in that room. The asp is one of several stories Plutarch records and the only one that survived in popular memory. Plutarch himself hedges it. He admits that no one knows the truth and offers the snake as a rumor among rumors. What he does report are 2 faint puncture marks on her arm. Those are more consistent with a poison pin or a topical poison than with a cobra. And consider the room. A cobra bite kills slowly, over hours, in pain. 3 women died in that sealed space within minutes of each other, calm and composed. Toxicologists who study this think the likelier agent is a prepared poison, hemlock, opium, and aconite, the kind a queen who had studied poisons for years could ready. We cannot prove it, but the snake fits the evidence worst of all. Go back to the room one last time. The Romans are inside it now, but they have nothing to do. The queen is on the golden couch, the diadem straight on her brow, set there by the last steady hands that would ever touch it. Iris at her feet, Charmian fallen beside her. The harbor wind still comes through the high slit in the wall, the way it came through every morning of her life, and the marble has gone warm at last in the August heat. She had been doing arithmetic all morning, and the Romans never saw the sum, because she was not only choosing how to die, she was choosing to die before she could be made to watch what came next. Caesarion, her firstborn, her son with Julius Caesar, 17 years old, was hunted down and killed on Octavian's order within weeks. The twins, 10 years old, and the youngest boy, 6, were taken to Rome and walked through the streets in Octavian's triumph behind an image of their dead mother. She could not stop any of that. What she could stop was being walked beside them. She denied the most powerful man in the world his living trophy, and made herself the one thing he could never parade through Rome, a queen who chose her own ending.